Hello, and welcome back to the Teaching Conversation video series. We have looked at the top 5 most important things that every ESL teacher needs to know about teaching conversation. In this video, we are going to discover where to find the best resources for teaching real-life conversation skills. Hello, my name is Susan Shostak, and this is Cookies on the Bottom Shelf, Making the Complex Simple. Wait, I thought we were going to look at the best resources for teaching natural conversation. This says textbook dialogues. Okay, well, let's start with the most common examples of spoken communication in ESL classrooms. On the left side of the screen is the dialogue from my French textbook. I was in the 9th grade in 1977, and we listened to this amazing piece of language on record albums. Fast forward to 2014. The dialogue on the right side of the screen is from a Level 1 ESL textbook. We have come a very long way in what we serve up to our beginning level language learners. However, some things are still the same. Textbook dialogues are written mostly in complete sentences. They focus more on grammar and vocabulary than on natural conversation. The noticing hypothesis reminds us that we learn only what is pointed out to us. If we are not pointing out the features of natural conversation to our students, they are left to absorb bits and pieces as they go through life here in the United States. A better way to think about teaching conversation is show and tell. Let's show students what natural talk looks like and tell them how it works. To show students the structure and operation of natural conversation, we need teaching resources that most effectively demonstrate the conversational features targeted in our lessons. One way to think about this is with something I call the authenticity continuum. The left side of the continuum shows resources that are deemed less authentic, while the right side moves toward more authentic. The checklist at the top of the screen shows how materials are measured for being able to showcase naturally occurring conversation. Having both a video and an audio recording allows students to see nonverbal communication as well as hear intonation, rate of speech, trail-offs, and other metalinguistic features that add meaning to the talk. Conversation whose transcripts have been labeled to show those same features provide another type of visual representation of spoken communication. Textbook dialogues are the least authentic representations of natural conversation, according to our measure. It should be noted that contrived dialogues can be very useful. If you watched the top 5 videos, contrived dialogues were useful for explaining a specific feature of spoken communication. The fact that dialogues are contrived, rehearsed, and read by professionals does put them on the far left of the continuum. However, they serve a purpose in English language instruction, so let's not throw the baby out with the bathwater, but also let's recognize the need to supplement textbooks with examples of natural conversation. There is good research to show that our intuition is often incorrect when it comes to knowing what we say in any given situation. If we are generating dialogues based on what we think we know about how conversation works, we are really not doing anything more than what the textbook authors have done. The entertainment value of movies and TV programs engages students and certainly ups the fun factor in language learning. Carefully chosen movie and TV clips can demonstrate features of naturally occurring conversation that might be difficult or impossible to come by otherwise. Job interviews, doctor-patient consultations, and matters related to police and court proceedings are not usually recorded and published for public consumption. Movies and TV programs that portray these interactions realistically can be valuable supplements to textbook instruction. Once an instructor becomes familiar with the structure of naturally occurring conversation, it becomes easier to create a dialogue based on reality instead of intuition. The gold standard of authentic conversation teaching materials is the recording of naturally occurring conversation accompanied by a transcript. Transcripts differ from dialogues in that they are written representations of actual talk. Let's look at an example. This example is about 10 seconds of recorded conversation. All 3 are the same 10 seconds of talk, but each one has been modified differently. For purposes of context, I'll play that first 10 seconds for you.
But anyways, back to the first thing, what we were talking about was...
I've got to pick up Pat. I dropped her off at the bookkeeper.
I would prefer that you were there.
Number 1 is the transcript as it appears in the Santa Barbara Corpus of Spoken American English. This resource is designed for people who study naturally occurring talk in much greater depth than we would normally do with our ESL students. Thus, the labeling is much more extensive. Number 2 is the same piece of talk. However, I have modified the transcript by taking away some of the labeling. The talk in brackets shows overlap, one of the most important features for understanding the system of turn taking, and something that is not usually included in ESL textbook dialogues. I also added line numbers, making it easier to use in the classroom for leading students through a process of conversation analysis. Number 3 is only provided by myself by way of example and to make a point. Omitting the overlapping talk creates a more pleasing appearance, which apparently is very important to textbook publishers, but it causes confusion with Brad's comment about needing to pick up Pat at the bookkeeper. For a textbook, that inserted comment might be taken out or modified, but that's how we talk. Real conversation has insertions of this nature all the time. Our ESL students are already out in the world, surrounded by this talk. Why not bring some of it into the classroom? With good resources and activities designed to help students notice conversational features, we can help students increase communicative competence. This is a list of resources that can greatly assist in creating teaching materials for teaching conversation. Join me for the next video when I'll take you through the process of creating the best resources for teaching natural conversation, and we'll be looking at those resources a little more closely.